Hi guys! Sorry, I just got a text. I wanted to finally get this very, very overdue review out of the way. I wanted to review Star Wars, the Thrawn series by Timothy Zahn, second book, Dark Force Rising. I finished it like 2 months ago and didn't do it because I got really busy, and I'm really sorry. I thoroughly enjoyed the book. It still had that Star Wars feel that I haven't seen Solo yet, so we'll get to that in a minute. But it certainly has that Star Wars feel that everybody has been missing since basically this last Christmas, and when episode 8 came out and just made a lot of people really irritated that it happened. So we have that, and I really enjoyed it. It was a 4-star review for me, mostly because it suffers a little bit from second book syndrome. You know how in trilogies you have like the second book syndrome, and I've been trying very hard to figure out what exactly second book syndrome means, and I've come to the conclusion that second book syndrome is typically where authors focus on characters and storylines that they really wanted, and then kind of let other things go to the wayside, or they really wanted to have more inclusion for their favorite characters that they're writing about, but what the people that they're writing about are doing is not quite as important as the quote-unquote star of the Star Wars series in that time period. In this case, what was going on is the best, most well-written, and most philosophically interesting parts of the book was Luke and Mara Jade, and then also by proxy Talon Card. Those were the best. Those were the power characters in this book. Without, honestly, the book, I probably would have been really bored reading the book without them. So applause for Timothy Zahn for realizing that Luke and Mara are just really fun to have in the book, and that he did a very good job writing it. And I think, because I do get the impression that his favorite character is not Luke, but Mara is his baby, and so that probably helps. And so far as Han and Leia are concerned, their side quests are really important. No one's denying that. With that being said, I think Leia's part especially, Leia's part, but especially Han's part, actually could have been more sporadically told in the book, and then moved into the third book to where that becomes let me rephrase that. It would be better if they told it basically not, yeah. So anyway, basically I wanted more screen time for Luke and Mara, because I think there was some really good philosophical richness there. With that being said, I understand that this is a book series that's being written from a movie series, and so you have, as an author, you do have to make the decision on whether or not you're going to make it movie, if they ever decided to actually pick up the Legends series at all and turn them into movies, when should they do that? Can we actually put everything in there? Basically what Zahn is doing is making it, with the books, is that he's made it impossible for directors to go, oh, well, we can't actually put this in a movie. Actually you can. This is enough like Star Wars where you can do it. So stop chopping up the book, sort of thing. If he'd ever had an intention of having that happen in sometime later on down the line, which of course never happened, and I still feel bad that that was the case. Anyway, enough of that side trip. So, yeah, so that was kind of like my overall impression. I don't really have that much to say. I've already written a review about it on this fun little app called Amino. Amino has all these fun little writers, places for writers to go, and yeah, it's great. They're basically forums, and I'm actually enjoying the forum. I've kind of started using that as my replacement for social media because it's nice to actually talk to other writers, and I think for the first time I've actually felt like I can market my stuff and people will actually read it. So that was fun. Anyway, but besides that, I think I definitely think that this book series as a whole is just a nice break from what we are getting from the canon lately, and it's and one of the reasons why I say that is because like I went on fanfiction, the Star Wars section of fanfiction.net recently, and I'll read this stuff about Kylo Ren and Rey because officially at this point they're the most interesting characters in the series. And I mean, it really is not. It's not as good. It's not as good as our old fan fiction used to be. And I hate to say that, but that's just the reality of the situation. And it's interesting because I'll go back and I'll read the published fan fiction and just feel so, like, I feel the difference. I feel how much more rich it is. I'm also currently reading Children of the Jedi by Barbara Handley. I'm reading that. I'm reading like a bunch of stuff at once. I'm terrible about that. But I'm reading this other one, and it's nowhere near as good as what it's like Timothy Zahn's very fast-paced writing. On the other hand, there's some really like there's some fun romantic parts in it. There's some good like questions being raised concerning that romantic stuff. Like there's just so, and just questions being raised in general about morality. It's like there was such richness in the extended universe. It's basically fan fiction that I just I've taken a step back and just thought, how did we get from that to this? Like, why is our fan fiction worse? Like, why is everything worse than it was? And I've come to the conclusion it's because we've just let absolute stupidity and non-science fiction thinking permeate our Star Wars universe. And the fact of the matter is whether or not science fiction is actually, like, the science in the science fiction is actually relevant to science, doesn't matter. Science fiction was there to always ask questions that make people think and make people uncomfortable, and so far that has not happened. What all the things that they're basically saying is, this is what the world should be like, and we're not going to tell you why. We just think you need to agree with it. This is what the characters should have been like, and we're not going to tell you why. We just want you to agree with it. This, like, there's no actual characterization. The characters feel like copies of each other. It's very weird and it's very frustrating, and as an author myself, or an aspiring author myself, I feel really let down reading it, or reading and watching the current stuff, and so that's why I got into this. Anyways, this turned into a rant review of the Star Wars franchise again, and I'm really sorry about that. I didn't write this down, so yeah, I scripted the other one, and I probably should have done that with this one. Anyway, but I talked about basically what I wanted to talk about, and I'm currently starting the other one. Anyway, I'm going to stop before this turns into a 20-minute rant, so bye guys.